Welcome to another broadcast of The Competitive Edge. In the event that you're joining this platform for the first time and you're wondering what is the competitive edge, I must say this is a platform designed to help business leaders, especially rising stars in business, to understand smart ways to start and scale your business and cash flow optimize. On this platform also, you if you're the average person who wants to achieve more in life, you will also learn from our leaders and from our team players that will talk to you about the importance of master plan. So you're now able to put your life into better perspective and position yourself in for greatness. In the event that you're wondering who is your moderator, well, in the event that you have never met me, my name is Gary, and of course, I wear many hats. But the hat that I love talking about is the fact that I'm the author of several books, and one of my most recent books is titled Master the Sales Communication Process. Now, in business and in life, if you don't know how to sell, it can be the difference. It can be the game changer in terms of success and failure. So I do encourage you to get a copy of that book so you can now begin to really understand how to become a better salesperson. All right, how to sell yourself, personal branding, corporate branding. To learn more about that book, I encourage you to go to bestsellerportal.org to learn more about those books. Now, today we're going to be talking about leadership, because it is an essential part of life. And if you don't understand leadership and how to apply it to affect positive change in your life, whether you're in business or you're the average person who wants to achieve more, if you do not know how to apply it, you're not likely to be successful. Our vision here is to provide you with a content of information because we want you to be successful. So today with me in studio, I have a number of subject matter experts across various fields that will help me along with this conversation today and in providing you with information that will give you the competitive edge. So the first person I'm going to bring up, I have Clement Frank. And Clement Frank, he is a specialist in leadership, but he's also an economist by profession. Next, I'm going to bring up Peter. Peter is the brain behind Legacy Chronicle Human Growth Program, and he's a specialist in helping you to develop your master plan for business and for life. Next, I have Shivani, and Shivani Sinarai. She is a project management practitioner. And tell me, if you don't have project management as an essential part of your business, an essential part of your life, believe me, you're leaving the door open. And when the door open, Pandora comes out to play. So you need project management on your side to help you navigate the world of business and the world of life. And they say leave the best for last. I have Paul Whitehouse. Paul Whitehouse is the person that's going to help you to really get savvy with money. Because in starting a business, you need access to capital. And when you don't know how to access capital, the person to talk to is Paul Whitehouse because he represents multiple financial instruments. And I see how this guy works. He's prepared to spend adequate time with you to ensure that you understand money, how money works, and how to play the money game. So I want to welcome my team to today's program and say, hey guys, how are you? You guys are mute.
We good.
We good. We all right. We good. We
We're
here.
good.
I'm so glad to hear that. All right. Just to give the public a chance, for those who might be coming and looking at the program for the first time that may not know you guys, I want you to give them, a short introduction of yourself, a minute or so. Let me start with Frank.
Hi, good morning, Clement Frank. Frank by name and nature here. Um, One of the things that I like looking at is how people can make themselves better leaders, whether on the job, in the community. So I'm basically tailored to make you the best leader possible. And today, as we speak on leadership, and so I want to look at intentional leadership and why it's important to be intentional on ways to live with intention daily, live to declutter, live to be better in your business. So we'll talk around that intentional living today.
All right, Shivani.
Hi, good morning again, Gary. Good morning to everyone. Always great to be here. Project
Good
management,
morning.
we have so many different tools that you can use to solve challenges. As we speak about this conversation, on leadership, we'll really discuss a term known as reframing the challenge. Whatever is your challenge, reframe it, and project management can definitely assist you to not only solve, but come about with new ideas as well. So project management all the way. That's who I am. Shivani Sinran is my name. Looking forward for the conversation as usual.
Share Annie and Peter.
Good morning, folks. We're so appreciative of you
You're
joining.
muted. Good morning.
Well, my mic says that
No,
I'm
no,
mute.
hearing you.
Let me see.
No, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you, Peter.
Great. Beautiful. Right. So just want to appreciate those individuals that are viewing us this morning. The name is Peter Gus Scott Sr., and we focus on how we can help individuals to master their lives as it is now in our world where there are so many shiny objects, so many different ways by which individuals that is vying for individuals' attention. And the individuals need to understand that as they master their lives, and we work through what we call the Legacy Chronicles Human Growth Program. So today we want to see how we can help individuals in the area of leadership, and I'm looking forward to put a few words in for individuals to understand that. Peter Scott is the name.
All right, thanks for that share, Peter. Paul, all to you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I love the way Shivani says this consistently. Project management, all the way. That's who I am. I mean, I really like that. I think it's a side note, but I just like the way she says that.
That's what you call branding, Paul. Paul,
Yes,
that's what you call branding.
yes,
You
I
must
know.
invest from the time you see that face, hey, I'm the project management expert.
You're right. That certainly is branding because he's been saying it since the beginning. It's catchy. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm one of two owners of Patriot Business Finance Consultants. And to put it very simply, we're here to help you get what you need as far as capital. Capital comes in a lot of forms. Could be equipment financing, real estate financing. If your cash flow is slow, there's products to speed it up. So everything money, we're here to help, and least expensive money first. Best deal structure, we're on your side. And get a hold of us, Paul at patriotbfc.com, DM Gary, and we're ready to go to work for you.
All right. Well, thanks for those shares, my friend. Today, I want us to do a deep dive into the leadership mindset and business success. What I've seen is that it requires a certain way of thinking. It requires a certain kind of skill set in leadership to position businesses to be successful. So I want us to spend some time looking at leadership and really explore how it can give businesses the competitive advantage. To jumpstart the conversation, I just want to share some ideas. I can recall interfacing with a few business startups, and very often when you interface with them, they have a lot of ideas that they're playing around with at the same time. They have the plan A, B, C, and D. They have multiple plans. And very often you find that they want to go to market with all of those ideas at the same time. So very often when I come in, I would have to say, I love all of the ideas, but we have to sequence them and we have to implement them in phases. Why? Because you don't have enough human resources, technical resources, and capital resources. And something you find as a business startup, you're so emotional about getting the business started and moving the process forward that sometimes you apply the wrong leadership style. And to me, essential leadership style is for you to pause a bit, assess strengths and weaknesses, identify, the best thing to do and go at it. So what we have done, we have introduced a concept that we call the MVO. So instead of you going to market with 4 or 5 different things, we say, let's look at your minimum viable offer or your most viable offer. The minimum viable offer is going to market with the lowest hanging fruit. That means you're targeting, the average person is the fastest way to cash flow. Or you go to market with what we call the most viable offer. This means that you're going to market with a premium, products or service. But in doing so, once you identify the one, you can now commit all the human resources, all the technical resources, and all the capital resource to that one project. So for me, leadership is about being able to think clear and not get caught up in the clutter. Frank earlier was talking about, the clutter. It's about getting that emotion out of the way and you being able to say to yourself, this is what I'm going to do because I can measure the results that I want and based on the circumstances that I have in front of me. And it requires a certain degree of leadership quality to be able to do so. So I'm going to pause there for a bit. I'm just sharing some of my experience in dealing with, business startup. And I have found applying the MVO, the 1 in 10 factors of brand selection, it's a very unique leadership style in getting a business off and getting that business cash flowing. So with that being said, I would love to hear from Frank in terms of how you see leadership and the role it can play in helping rising stars in business to declutter and apply themselves in a way where they're going to get more better quality results. I'm going to start with Frank and then I'm going to come to Shivani.
All right, thanks, Gary. In business, people always reach a point and then they kind of fizzle out. And it can be for varying reasons. How intentionally are you living daily? Because intentional living is a lifestyle that can encourage us to define our priorities, get clear guidelines, be clear with what you want from life, and you live each day in alignment with these priorities. In simple terms, living intentionally means deciding what you want from life and going for it. So in today's business world, many businesses and business owners, entrepreneurs, they are overstretched and juggling everything. And so it's probably not a surprise to learn that intentional living is becoming increasingly popular. You know, sometimes it reminds me of a dog chasing its tail. We struggle with life in the fast lane. We're seeking out a life of purpose, a life of direction. We want clarity, we want peace, we want joy. a life on our terms instead of a life dictated to us can be scheduled by a to-do list. How can you be intentional? One of the things I've learned is that intentional living isn't expensive or time consuming, but it will help involve you giving everything up or throwing it all away, unless you want to, of course. An intentional life is about making small, conscious daily decisions about what enhances your life and what just clutters, what distracts and pulls you off course. And it is a sum of these small decisions that will shape the bigger picture of your life. Richie Norton says, intentional living is the art of making our own choices before others' choices make us. I'll repeat that. Intentional living is the art of making our own choices before others' choices make us.
Make
If
you.
an
I like
international
that.
life, if an international life speaks to your heart, then um, whether it's being intentional with your time, relationship, self-care, finances, priorities, or anything else that makes up your life, there are ideas and ways in creating a life that truly supports you instead of just running you into the ground. You must start by being intentional. I remember when I first began decluttering and simplifying my own life, I didn't have it in mind to be intentional. In fact, I didn't even know what intentional living was. I just knew that my life, busy home, was making my body, my brain feel overwhelmed. And I was being pushed and pulled in all directions just by life. I felt I was increasingly losing my way. I remember losing sight of what I wanted out of life, what was truly and deeply important to me, and what made life meaningful and purposeful. In fact, I was so busy running to and fro, juggling kids, work, just snatching sleep, and sometimes you use an energy bar or a vitamin tablet whenever you remember, just to keep going.
Okay, okay, got you. All right, I'm gonna come right back to you shortly, Frank. Just let me come across to Shivani. Shivani, I know you're a project management specialist, and I love what you said at the introduction of this program. Would you care to give us an insight as to how project management and the whole concept of leadership can help to push a business forward?
Thanks, Gary. Always a great topic to speak on leadership and how leadership can assist your business, can assist people to do better in whatever you're doing. So, in project management, we speak about project leadership, right? As in conversations from before, we keep talking about and conversing on the difference with project management versus project leadership, management versus leadership, really, and if there's a difference. So, as a project manager, we have to lead a project. Could we learn anything from project leadership that we can practice in general leadership, in business? And of course, I would say, of course, you can. There are so many things that you can take. Now, as Frank was saying, you have intentional leadership. You have to be intentional. You have to declutter. You have to know the entire system and see and pinpoint what you need to do. So, declutter in a sense, right? You have to declutter. In project management, of course, we look at it, what is the project? And you look at all the different parts. You ensure that there's no clutter, right? That you can get the final outcome. But what I want to really contribute here even more and get more deep dive into in project leadership here. We want to start as project leaders. Yes, you know your project. You know what the project is. But we want to see reframe the challenge. reframe the challenge. It is a challenge, right? Every one of us, when you're working in projects or you're working in your general work, you have challenges that you face. So I'm putting it specifically now to a project that you have. And what I'm saying is we need to reframe the challenge. You reframe the challenge, it's not only about the project. Once you start to think it's about the people, you would see now great improvements. So you're not managing or leading a project, you are leading your people. Now, how do you do something like that? In my experience, I tell my team, in any team, whether it is in facilities management projects, technology projects, because it's people, right? You're involved with people no matter what, no matter what type of project. And we start with this concept, reframe the challenge, which is we are really now diving into understanding people. Now, on the specific project, you would have different skill sets, as you know. But we are not telling you, Peter, you have to do this. John, you have to do this. I'm not saying what you have to do. You will determine your role. You determine your role. With me, of course, as a project leader, right? With me, of course. But you are telling persons, let us determine the role together. I am not saying what you have to do on the project. Of course, within organizations and conglomerates, you have to know human resource, and human resource will say Gary has been employed for a particular position, for a particular role. Now, roles are different, right? So we're talking about roles. What do you want to contribute within the project with your particular skill set? Of course, I have to look at compliance and regulations depending on the type of project that I manage. I know what we're saying. But focus on the people, reframe the challenge, and you focus on getting the job done through people, making sure everybody understands what is their role. What do you want to contribute to the role? Now, something that comes out of that a lot of times for me is that when you speak to people, you may realize it is a skill that they want to develop in. Now, you don't need to go and do a master's in it to develop the particular skill. Right on the job there, you develop what we refer to as a L&D culture, learning and development culture. And people would learn and grow their particular skill there. So one of the takeaways that I want people to really take from this conversation and how project management, we have so many tools that you could use. But I started the conversation by saying, reframe the challenge. Reframe the challenge. It's not about the project, it's about the people. And what we need to do is to let people with you talk about the specific roles that they want to contribute to. There are so many others, but I'll stop there.
All right. Yeah, thanks for that share, Shivani. I do love the concepts, of bringing people in and allowing them to identify their strengths and how they're going to contribute to the process. There's a lot that I want to say on that, but I'll leave that that way for now. Paul, I should start it with you because one of the challenges, the leadership challenges that we see businesses are faced with is access to capital. Can you talk to us about your portfolio in terms of financial instruments? And secondly, can you talk to us from your experience? What are some of the challenges that you are seeing businesses are faced with when it comes to overcoming the access to capital challenge? All to you, Paul.
Thank you. Well, the programs that we have available for you will be equipment financing, real estate financing for commercial or investment properties. Program called factoring that allows you to sell your accounts receivable because your accounts receivable are one of the greatest assets of your business. All the money that people owe you out there floating around, you're waiting to collect it because you're giving them an invoice, which of course you have to. Everybody gives business to business. You're issuing an invoice, pay me in 30 days. But 30 days sometimes turns into 40 or 50 or 60 or beyond. So, you got all this work activity, your business is growing, you're putting a lot of money out, but you're waiting to get paid. So accounts receivable, you can sell 97, 98 cents on the dollar and get immediate cash flow. Okay, purchase order financing. If you have a large order that you need to fulfill, but you don't have the cash to do it, and you think that you might have to just turn the order away and say no, well, you don't have to say no, because a PO financing company, which we can set you up with, will step in, advance that money for you to manufacture the product or provide the service, ship it, and then when your end client gets it, everybody gets paid. So there's a lot that we can do as far as financing programs. Now, you're asking about challenges. A lot of the challenges are down payment. Okay. So what doesn't require a down payment? Purchase order financing does not require a down payment. Factoring does not require a down payment. Equipment financing, if you have more than 3 years, if you got good to excellent personal and business credit, a strong company making money, and realistically over 3 years plus time in business, but we can pull this off with 2 years time in business, then the down payment on equipment financing can be as little as 1, 2, or even 3 payments in advance. Basically, first and last payment down at the beginning of the equipment lease. With equipment leasing, and that is the best way to own equipment, don't pay cash, don't bank finance it. Leasing is how the Coca-Cola, General Motors, all the biggest companies use equipment leasing, because there's tax advantages and there's reasons to do it. But with equipment leasing, by law, it's defined as financing 90% of the equipment, which means 10% down has to come from somewhere. You put that down at the beginning, you don't have to pay it at the end in order to take title at the end of the payment streams. Or don't put it down at the beginning, put first and last payment down, and at the end of the payment stream, you'd pay 10% of the original purchase price to take ownership of that equipment. Now, challenge, when I said challenge is down payments, well, if there's difficult credit, what that looks like is there's anywhere from a 15 or 20. If it's a startup business, expect to put 30% down if you want to finance equipment. And if you think of it, don't be shocked. If you think about it, that makes sense, because businesses fail. And the people lending the money, they need to protect their interests and their shareholder interests, and they have to be able to nobody in business, nobody's going to give you 100% of everything. You have to participate. You got to put your own effort and skin in the game. So I guess the biggest challenge I see is sometimes with startups or difficult credit, coming up with the down payment required. How could we solve that for them? I'll just give one easy, there's a lot of ways, but I'll just give one easy, quick example. That would be if there's, let's just choose. I always pick the construction and truck driving industry. Let's grab a truck driver. He wants to get a new truck. He's got 2 trucks on the road, and he wants to get truck number 3 for his company. But something happened. He's got a difficult credit score. So the term sheet came back after we submitted the deal package, came back and said 30% down. He says, I don't have the cash to pull that off. Our immediate follow-up question, because we look for solutions, is, well, what about other equipment that your company owns free and clear? Your other trucks, is there a balance on them? No, they're all paid off. Okay, perfect. Because that equipment that you own free and clear, one of 2 things. You can pledge that as your down payment in lieu of cash. Okay. Or cash out of that. We can help you do that. Pull cash out of equipment that you own free and clear, and that can be your down payment. For any viewers who are saying that's risky, why would I pledge equipment that I own free and clear? Because that's how things get done. It's cost of doing business. It's what you got to do, and it's not risky at all. It's risky if you don't think that the end result is possible. It's risky if you don't have contracts lined up. But this truck driver that I'm talking about, and this is a made up scenario, although we've played this scenario out many times before. Um, if he wants another truck, it's because his business is growing, and he's got more contracts coming, and he knows it. He knows he can take on more work. So is it really risky for him to pledge some assets that he owns free and clear in order to get another piece of equipment so he can double his business? I don't think that's risky. I think that's a smart, calculated move. And that was a long answer, Gary, but I hope that did answer the question for you.
Yeah, you certainly did. I think what you did, you look at the problem, but then you also table the solution. And I just want to emphasize to the public, the reason that we are here is because we want to help businesses to grow and achieve their business financial objectives. So when you hear we talk of problems that businesses are faced with, it's because we know that problem. But we're not going to come here and present you with the problems without the solutions. We also want to say that we know the solutions. So we should be a favorable alternative for you a favorable choice, not the alternative. If you're in business and you are operating in 50 states in the US, you're in the Caribbean, and you need professional guidance and advice, I want to encourage you to definitely reach out to us because we know the challenge, but more so we understand the solution. You need capital, we can get you access to capital. You need project management, we can put you in contact with project management specialists. You need the right leaders on your side, we can put the right leaders on your side. So with that being said, I want to come now to Peter to talk to us a little bit about the importance of leadership when it comes to your master plan. As a rising star in business, you're getting into business, there's no master plan. There's no beginning, there's no in between, and there's no end because you don't have that master plan. Is there a leadership in this regard? What are your thoughts, my friend?
Yeah, so what we do realize is that a lot of persons, they jump into what they want to do without a sense of direction and where they want to go. So typically there's is about we have a system where we empower individuals to understand or to get a framework of what the trajectory of where they're going, what it might look like, and how they will approach their circumstance and their situation as they move out into their programs. And those 5 areas that we get individuals to understand is number 1 is generalization, then there is specification, then there is certification, then there is authorization, and the celebritization. And each of those is just another step to where they want to become that shining star in the marketplace. So everybody starts out as a generalist. Everybody starts out, for instance, an individual who's starting out in a particular area. Say, for instance, let's just use a doctor, and he's now a doctor, but then what he is a general doctor. Anywhere hurt, you go to that general doctor. But then if he wants to go deeper to earn more, finances in his practice, then he's going to move from a generalist and he's become a specialist. He's going to become an oncologist, or he's going to become whatever area of the physiology that he's going to focus. He's going to become a specialist in that area. But then he can gain even greater certification, where now he can get the United States Board of Oncology, or the United States Board, if he's a dentist, the Dental Association, to certify him in his practice. Then that adds greater credibility to who he is. But then now he can even go further to have authorization, where now he is now writing a book. He's now, doing certain practices in to show certain to show certain skill sets, how individuals does, his area of practice. And then the last area that an individual can go now, when he can become a celebrity, when he can become celebritized, now then you'll have CNN or NBC now calling upon that individual to come be their individual who is going to speak on their show. Now he becomes a celebrity. Now, what to do? Find in each area of those rungs of the ladder, it's a higher pay grade. Life becomes easier, and they are in greater demand. So when individuals can understand this, as they are building out their focus or building out their piece of their businesses or whatever practice that they're going into, when they understand that this is the path in which they need to go, then they can have a clear step where the leadership of their premise, and they can now know, okay, this is where I'm starting right here as a generalist, but over time the goal is I want to become the celebrity in my field, and that is a sweet spot that everybody wants to be in.
All right, thanks for that share, Peter. I see how you flow. You move from generalist into specialist into, getting endorsement all the way up to using the media as a platform to express your professional skills. And I like the sequence, because I do believe that if every rising star in business is able to follow this sequence, it will significantly help to increase their visibility. And the more visible you are as a subject matter expert in your field, it significantly raises, confidence, trust, and credibility, and ultimately set the stage for cash flow optimization. So I see tremendous value in the points that you would have shared. I want to come right back to Frank. Today we're looking at how to win with leadership. Frank, I want you to see the problem, but while we can drown in the problem, can we focus on results? Can we focus on the solution that young leaders have to become more accustomed to, has to become more habitual, has to become more a social norm to win in business? Can we look at some of that from your leadership vantage point, Frank?
Thank you again, Gary. I have some ideas on how to get young leaders to overcome the doldrums, the clutter, whatever may be stretching you in every direction. How many of you have a clear structure for your day? You get up in the morning, you structure, you plan, just like a project. Today, A will be completed by what time and so on. B will be completed another time. Because you see, if you have a clear structure for your day, it means that you have a solid and consistent morning or even evening routine. And having that clear framework really will help start and end your day on the right note, despite how busy you may be. But a clear structure, you are able to create time for yourself, time for your business, time for the family, and even your priorities can have a structure in how you are able to accomplish each level of activity that you have for the day. How you spend your days and how you spend your life. If your day is spent in confusion, then your whole life is going to be spent in confusion. And if you need more convincing, that an intentional life starts with an intentional day, then remember, however you spend your day, is how you spend your life. A clear structure doesn't need to be right, rigid, or stop you doing things on a whim, but it does give you a flexibility, a flexible way to structure that day and carve out time for what's important, especially if you have a to-do list. The odd thing is, which affects even
Um,
me. Are you hearing me?
yeah, I'm hearing you, Frank, but can I just push you here a little bit? I 101% agree. Are you hearing me?
Yes, lovely.
Yeah,
I'm
I
here.
was saying that I 101% agree that having structure is vital. Is vital. But can you talk a little bit about measurable targets, measurable outcome? Because one thing to have a structure to the day, but I believe that to add to that structure, you need to say to yourself, okay, at the end of the week, this is what I'm doing on a daily basis, and this is my results. Because the last thing that you want is that you're doing something over and over in futility, and an end result is not in, in line. That becomes like a runaway train. And we did talk about this briefly before we started. So, can you talk about measurable, the structure, and how it can aid in measurable results?
Well, that is a good point. You want to realize it. If you wake up this morning, you have to take your kids to school. You have to make sure the breakfast, whatever is prepared, and so on. So if you have, and I've had children, I have children, so I know how strenuous it can be when you're try to accomplish everything in a day. So if you set yourself a target today, okay, child A needs to be at dance lessons for a certain time. Child B needs to be at swimming for a certain time. But then I have business meetings and I have so many other things to do. One of the first things you look at, are we talking about measurable? Is this meeting that important today, or can it be rescheduled for time after I've been having to deal with my children? Or is the dancing lessons or swimming lessons have to be done today? You see, the thing about it is you need to know how to prioritize. For every person, their priority will vary. What are you putting first as a priority? What are you thinking of doing first? Is your business more important than children? Does your children more important? And these are ways in which you can prioritize for the day. How do you accomplish that? At the end of the day, you will see what you have accomplished. So for the next day planning, you will know what your failure is, where you fell short on, and how you can work to better that the following day. Another thing that I wanted to stress also is money. How careful are you with your money? As I said earlier, it's easy to hit up a shop and do a quick purchase. Everybody seems to want to do shopping now. I know it's good to get new things, but we need to be intentional about what you spend your money on. And you don't buy things or waste your money on stuff that you don't really need or want. It will just drain your account. And most times you find yourself with a cupboard of clutter. So you shop mindfully, you shop intentionally, Spend your money with thought intentionally. Explore other activities that you do with your time. Or when you're feeling low or bored, invest in quality, not quantity. And you got to do that where possible. If you're struggling with that, you seek support. If you need help managing your finance or deal with debt, seek support. Help is here for you. One thing that people realize, a lot of people, they have a lot of clutter. So how do you start decluttering your life? How do you start decluttering your home? Your home is your space, but everything in it comes at a price. Or put another way, your clutter is costing either what you've paid for in the first place or in terms of how you spend your time and energy looking after it. Be intentional about who you keep in your home. You declutter the stuff that you no longer love, you no longer need, no longer adds value in some way. If you enjoy living in a decluttered home, then you'll find that it's easier to clean and tidy. That's better for your physical and mental health. More importantly, when you free up your space, time and energy for other things in life, you
All
have
right.
defining your priorities and goals. How often do you think about the goal and what you want to achieve in life? Everybody's busy, right? Not only would that priority goal help you to be more productive, but if you identify the priority and goals, it will help you to find clarity for what you want out of life.
All right. Thanks for that share, Frank. All right. So there you had it, audience. You have heard some of the challenges, and you have heard a whole lot of the solutions to some of the challenges that you will be faced with in life. Paul talked about various type of financial instruments. Shivani spoke about some very important concepts in terms of project leadership. Peter introduced some good concepts, and I trust that you have taken away a lot from being what was said today. With that being said, I want to ask each one to give us your closing thoughts. Um, if you were talking to a rising star in business, what advice would you give that rising star for them to position themselves for greatness? I'm going to start with Shivani. I'm going to come right back to Frank, Peter, and then Paul. Paul, as I come back to you also, while I want you to answer the same question, I want you to have spent some time also talking to us about the financial instruments. Shivani.
Thanks, Gary. So, project leadership, you have so many great principles, so many great learnings that, as you said, your word is the rising star. How can you learn? What can you really take from this conversation? Now, this is a concept that I find I always have to keep practicing it, right, over and over in projects, which is known as the multi hat challenge. The multi hat challenge. And as you know, what the multi hat challenge is, you're wearing many hats, right? You're wearing many hats. So, right in my project, there, I would have many different hats. I will have to what? Wear a hat when I have to lead up, right? Because definitely in project management, we have to give reports. We have to tell leaders, executive senior management, we have to say, hey, this is the amount of, this is where we are, and how this project could actually be now operationalized. So that's a very, very, very important aspect in project management. Do not look at things in silos. So this is a skill that we have to develop quite a lot of, which is how to lead up, because you're not only speaking to your staff to get the job done and coordinating and making sure all is well, but very, very important is how to lead up. Because what I have seen with this multi-hack challenge, you may be very, very good to operate at a tactical level with your team and say, okay, Peter, this is all right. What should we do here? Gary, what should we do here? And we do it. And it's all great. But leading up, we have to understand how to lead up. And that really makes a difference, right? Between a tactical leader and now a strat leader. All great words, all great words. But the concept that I wanted to share is multi-hat challenge, which is it's actually a John Maxwell principle as well. He speaks about it, but I take it also in project management because I see it's such a relevant idea. It's so relevant, which is you have to wear many hats. So you have to analyze yourself. You have to know, I'm speaking to my team, right? This is how it's not personalities. It's not changing your personality. That's definitely not what we are saying. But what we are saying is that you have to know who you are connecting with. So I'm not saying who you're dealing with, but who you are connecting, because it's all about connected leadership, right? And you have to look at, as a project leader, as a leader and somebody in business, I'm wearing many different hats. How is it going to relate? And what do I need to do? And then when I understand that there are different hats, I will probably have to develop that skill as well. So lead up, lead down. You have to lead down too. I'll have to say is lead down. And then lead across. And then lead across. Lead across. Different hats, different areas, and how you have to solve it. So one hat, what we say, one hat doesn't fit all. Yeah. Multi-hat challenge.
Love that share, Shivani. Lead up, down, and lead across. I love that. I think I see it as being relevant even outside of the organization, because now you may have private equity investors who are coming to invest with you. That's not leading up. That's not leading down. You got to be able to sell your picture, your vision upwards. So there's so much of importance to what you're saying. Frank, all to you.
All right, thank you.
Your challenge here, Frank, is that you're talking to a young person, a rising star in business. What advice would you give to them to be successful?
All right. Before I go into that, I just want to thank Shivani for raising that 360-degree leadership, leading up, leading across, leading down.
I know you would have liked that, Frank.
It's called the 360-degree leadership. John Maxwell.
Everybody knows how to press your buttons, buddy.
Stakeholder management, project management, stakeholder management, yeah.
Yes. But the thing about the young leadership, the business started in your mind. Words that you speak are powerful things, and as such, your mind is powerful. Whatever the mind of man can conceive, he can achieve. I like Jill Elliott quotation that says, "Wherever you are, be all there." Mindy Hall says, "Every action has an impact, and you choose wisely the impact you want to have." Just to summarize, for a young leader, I'm putting it a little more simple. It's basically saying to you, establish daily routines, spend wisely, clear clutter to create space. Then you get calm, good for your mental health. You need to define what's important. You don't waste time. You must spend time with your loved ones. Of course, you'll have challenges, but challenge limiting beliefs. Whatever your belief has that limits you, challenge it. And then be mindful of your actions. Of course, cultivate a positive mindset. You do the inner work. You establish systems and routines. And then you step away from the screen. But in all, have a spirit of gratitude. Be grateful. There are persons who can be helping you along the way. Be grateful. In all of that, you need to show personal growth and self-development. Thanks, Greg.
All right, thanks for that share, Frank. And I think that was definitely solid advice. I'm going to come to Frank now. Frank, you are talking to a rising star in business. What advice would you give them to become more successful in what they're doing?
You mentioned Frank, but I think you're talking to me,
Oh,
right?
I mean, pizza. I want to change your name now, buddy.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I liked what Shivani said, that lead up, lead down, lead across, and that is so it is so pointed into even what I'm going to say right now, because every individual, as I said, everybody start out as generalist, and the intention is that we do not stay generalists. And what we do find in the marketplace is that after individuals has arrived at their comfort zone, to get somebody pulled out of their comfort zone, no matter how much a challenges they are going through, it has to be sometimes crisis have to really hit some people before they realize that I got to get out of here. So this is where the leading up comes in, where an individual has to understand, okay, then what do I do? What are the steps do I need to take to get out of the generalist situation? The challenges in our world is that there is always new innovations, the rise of AI, technology. If we remain as a generalist, then what is going to happen? You can be out of a job if you're a practitioner, a professional practitioner. So we always have to be looking at, how do I get out from where I am to be more competitive, to move into the next dimension of the generalist space, moving to specification, certification, authorization, and celebritization. So the 4 steps that we empower individuals to do is be clear where your mission is. Once you know what your mission is and you are clear on that and you are focused where that is concerned, then you make it a mandate. So it's not just a mission, because a lot of times people may even write a mission statement, but it is never really revisited. It is just something that they have in a book placed somewhere. They continue to do their practice on a day-by-day basis because it is nice and everything is happening beautifully. There's no challenge. But then we are saying, then you have to not just not just write the mission statement, but mandate the mission statement. Make it something that you are constantly doing every day. Don't just do your thing as a generalist. Everybody's doing this, so I do it too. No, focus on this is why you came into business. This is why you become whatever it is that you're doing, and you make it your specific focus on as a mandate. It is what you must do every day. And then you look at your message. What is the message? The words that encapsulate your mission and your mandate, something that becomes your culture. It becomes those words that everybody in your organization knows, like what Shivani did when she came in earlier, that we said that was her branding. So your message now become your branding. This is something that you say. People begin to know you by what you say. And then the 4th thing that we want to pass on to everybody is that you master that. You master it like everything else. You keep on mastering that. And when you become a master in those areas, then guess what? Then you become the sought after individual that persons want to be associated with. So if we can just do that, it will certainly take you out of generalization. It will take you into specification. It will certainly carry you into certification, authorization, all the way up to celebritization.
All right, thanks for that share, Peter. Paul, you're talking to a rising star in business. What advice would you give them?
Okay.
And I don't know which one you're going to take first, and I was going to also walk us through some of the financial instruments.
Okay. The best advice I would give is like real simple. Have a great master plan. You have to. If you don't, then you're going to stumble. And recognize that you can only do so much every day. You can't climb Mount Everest in one single day, but you can climb sections of it in a day. So be satisfied with that. But just make sure you complete that section every day. So one step at a time, put pressure on yourself, but don't put overwhelming pressure on yourself. Uh, Project management, because all of these factors play into it. And manage your project efficiently, manage your business, manage what you do every day. And if that's not within your personality to do that, then hire somebody or become partners with somebody. If your business partner, whoever you become business partners with, make sure they've got skills that complement yours and they have skills that you don't have. Okay. So as far as like taking an existing business and making it really succeed or a startup, then you need a master plan. You need to manage that project. Leadership, um, put people in positions of leadership. Depends on what size your business is. I mean, you can't run everything if it's a big business. So put the right people who will lead other people. And then you have to lead them effectively. You got to lead them with kindness, with care, concern, and and everything else that is involved with that. I guess one last point also would be have enough money to do it. If it's a startup, make sure you got enough money. If it's an existing business and you're not making enough money to have cash reserves, to have enough money to expand, find out how to do it. Because, like Frank said, if we can envision it, if the human mind can see it, it can be accomplished. Uh, you just got to make it happen. That sounds easier said than done, and it might be a little bit difficult, but I don't think that it is. I don't think it's that difficult. It's not like you're trying to recreate. It's not like you're trying to recreate and dig up a mountain with a shovel. You're not doing that. You've got tools at your disposal. You got a plan. You got management, and you got leaders doing it. If you're at this all by yourself with a shovel, you're going to be there forever, and you're not going to
Yeah,
be content.
but for a clear example, Elon Musk is going to different planets, right? He's going into planet now, and it's a clear example of what you're saying. What Frank would have said. You think it, you can make it real. Um, so great points. Great points. Can you
I'm
talk? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say something dumb. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm gonna hold this one to myself, you guys.
All right.
Okay.
Hold the dumb talks, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about financial instruments here, now, my
Okay.
friend.
I'll touch on the financial instruments, then I'll just tell you what I was thinking, which will only take 10 seconds. Financial instruments, equipment financing, working capital, real estate financing, raising money for with Securities and Exchange Commission compliant capital raises, growth capital or startup capital. Everything in between, we do have you handled. I could go into great detail on that, but we do that quite a bit here. So yeah, we want to work with you as far as getting that done. What I was going to say was this. You said we're going to other planets. I don't think we are. My internet goes out sometimes when I'm walking around my house on my phone. How are we controlling something on Mars with a joystick in a video game? Sorry, might be unpopular, but I can't help but hold my mouth sometimes. Siobhan, he's getting a good kick out of it. That's what was my whole goal, really.
All right. All right, Paul. Um, my simple advice to rising star in business, it makes a lot of sense to not go alone. it makes a lot of sense to get a mentor, get a coach, get a sponsor, get a support community behind you to help you make quicker, smarter, sharper business decisions. You see, there are going to be those who have been in business for quite a number of years, who have years of experience in front of you, and when you form the right team around you, it can help to push you faster. Further faster. We have formed a very unique team here, and of course, when we come in the morning, it's to have light conversation. We haven't gone into anything intellectual as yet. It's just to have those light conversation and to whet your appetite of important thoughts. Yes, so I just want to leave that little bit. In conclusion, I want to also say this. In starting this program, I talk about the MVO, which means three things: your minimum viable offer, most viable offer, or your maximum viable offer. The reason we have developed this concept is because we see many rising stars. You're going to market and you're choking yourself. You're doing too many things at one time with limited human resources, capital resource, and technical resources. So when you focus on the one and you take that one forward, several things happen. You reduce the cost of doing business. You're better able to resource allocate. You're better able to collect the intelligence because you're focusing on one thing. You have a faster way to enter into the market because you're focusing again on one thing. You get to manage time better. You get to reduce the stress level in doing what you're doing. You get to increase the business cash flow and increase the chance of the business success. All right, so the MVO has tremendous value when you really understand what it is. And I want to encourage you to go to the website, which is the bestsellerportal.org. Go to bestsellerportal.org. Click on products. On the drop-down left-hand side, you will see ebooks. Go there, get the first volume of 11 books. And it will really open up your idea in terms of what the MVO is and how it can help you develop better leadership in business. So with that being said, I trust that the general public who are viewing this program from across the world, I trust that you find this information useful. It gives us tremendous pleasure to do this with you on a daily basis. I know I have fun, and I'm quite certain that my team are having fun also. So with that being said, I really want to thank Peter, and I know Frank had to leave for a meeting, Paul and Shivani. I want to thank you all for coming out and sharing your knowledge, your experiences with rising stars in business, so they can, have that competitive edge and to be able to make better, smarter business and decisions. So with that being said, I want to wish even you, my team, all the best for the week ahead of you. And in the business world, we say thank God is Monday, right? Because
It's Monday.
time to cash flow, right? Okay, my team. Thanks to be